Okay, welcome guys, welcome. We're going to be looking at Strategic Command, the American Civil War game, but with a very, very advanced peek at the coming DLC, Concert of Europe. So this is actually sponsored content, so I do want to thank Slytherin for sponsoring the for this video. And this live stream, essentially. And following this live stream, I will actually be doing a raid into the Slytherin channel, just where they're actually going to be starting off one of their special presentations. So we'll sort of get to that at the end of the session. Anyway, let's continue on. So what this is what I've got here is an extremely advanced version of the DLC. In fact, it completely replaces the American Civil War Wars in the Americas game. So I no longer have access to the Civil War game. What I've got is two scenarios that I can then go and play. So if I go into single player here, and you'll see, instead of having a whole long list of different games through here, I've only got really like one lustrous aim, which is what we'll play today. I'll be playing this tomorrow as well, actually, so at about the same time. So it's not my normal time. This is usually a little bit earlier than my normal time. So I've only just woken up, so I'm going to be a little bit groggy with what we're doing. So I'll try to sort of do as much as I can with this game and sort of show the way it sort of does work. It's a very approachable war game. The whole Strategic Command games themselves, they're very, very deep, but also quite approachable, and I think that's important to sort of get across. And one of the really cool things about, you'll see down through here, the Concert of Europe DLC down through here, one of the things I'm really, really excited about is this is an Age of Rifles DLC. So this actually deals with conflicts, sort of, I guess, mainly dealing with European powers, sort of across the globe in different sorts of areas. And in this case, one lustrous aim is really about Giuseppe Garibaldi landing in Sicily, and so it's in 1860. So we're getting sort of combat that sort of, I think, sort of ranges really from about the 1830s through to the 1880s, thereabouts, will be where most of the different campaigns will then come from. So we're going to have all sorts of different, very seminal events. One of the things with this, I actually really like this era. It's one of those things where I enjoy reading about it, because you don't read much about the history of this particular era itself, and I actually love the Flashman books. Absolutely love them, so they're books that I can read and read and read over and over again, because they do give you a very good insight into the history of this era. So for me, I'm really, really happy to be able to actually play games that actually deal with this era, because not very many games do, which is sort of interesting. Actually, it's sort of funny that they don't. It's there's a lot of things happened in this sort of area. Hi, Undersquirrel, saying, I noticed that last night. I think your stream keeps on loading. Every other stream I watch is okay. Is this happening to anyone else? Is it just me? Keeps on lagging. Do you mean? I don't know. Actually, it's I've had one other person had mentioned it, but I don't think he's in at this stage. He then found it was actually his. It was to do with his. It was from his side in the end, was what he found out, but I forget what it was. It was something to do with the country that he was from, was having issues. I actually thought it may have been because my default stream goes through Sydney and here in Australia, and I thought there may have been some sort of connection issue back from there. So I'm really not sure about that one, sorry. Anyway, let's get into it. One thing I have actually done is I've downloaded, or not downloaded, actually I might just cancel this. And I'll quit and just sort of show you a few little things that you do get with pretty much all the Strategic Command games is when you go and open them up. You do actually have, of course, the manual. There's an editor there as well, and I won't click on that one. But the manual will then open up the American Civil War manual, which will be the sort of like the default manual, and then the guides will actually open up a directory, which will then take you through into the manual itself, and also the actual strategy guides for the actual games. Like some games will actually have the strategy guides, which are interesting. I've actually downloaded them, I've opened them up in a PDF viewer. So we'll have a look at those as well, because they are, I think, if you play these sort of games, you tend to enjoy the history of what you're playing. So, and those guides often will actually give a lot of good insights. Now, we won't spend too much time with those, but we probably will spend a little bit of time talking about different mechanics in the actual game itself and how it does work. As I said before, it's an approachable game. It does have a lot of depth to it as well. So if I go and just go on Alt-Tab, hopefully that will then bring it up. There we go. So this is the manual in here, which is got like, you know, sort of, it's nicely laid out, etc., etc. But there's also the strategy guide, which is, if I sort of zoom back to the top, and I'll just make it so that it's only sort of like a single page wide, like a single page height, and so it's got like a whole range of different things. These you can then sort of go back through. One thing with the terminology of the actual DLCs themselves, or with the actual scenarios, is like one lustrous aim strategy guide. These are like they always like they've tried to think of interesting ways of presenting the information, and so what they've done is they've taken them from like famous poems. So this is a poem, The Centenary of Garibaldi by George Meredith, and so I think it will be in here somewhere, like in this poem, where there will actually be that title. So all of the names of the scenarios have come from famous poems about this era, and of course there was a lot of poems that sort of come out at that particular point in time. So anyway, these guides will then just give you information about about how to win, or not even how to win, but just giving us a bit of a summary about the victory conditions. You don't have to read these, but they do sort of go through and just give you a bit of an insight as to the history behind this, behind things. And I know that, again, people who play these sorts of war games will actually enjoy getting information from them and about them. So you know, we've got partisans, for example, which will sort of then impact supply, for example, in this one, which I haven't really played much of this at all. I just opened it up to make sure it would actually work. So it's all going to be a bit of a first look for me as well. Yeah, there's different things like to offset the fighting spirit losses from having too much Italy considered as occupied. The Garibaldini will initially receive 250 fighting spirit points each turn, reducing by 50 points per turn at the beginning of each month. Okay, so we'll just see how we go with this anyway. There's a lot you can do in this game, a lot more than what it immediately sort of looks like. So we've got different strategies. What this is it's essentially Garibaldi is with his red shirts trying to get one Italy. Italy is fragmented into different states, and it's the Bourbons of Spain control the southern part of Italy, and so Garibaldi has now is landing in Sicily to try to take over the southern part of Italy. So that's the premise of this particular one. We'll probably end up looking more at the strategic command manual more so than anything else. By the way, the actual the American Civil War base game is really quite large as well. Like there's different scenarios in there as well that you can then go and play. Which if you're into the age of rifles and particularly the American Civil War, then this is a bit of a must-have game by all accounts. And again, I didn't really ever cover it on my channel. Oh, hang on. So underscore saying every 15 or 20 seconds it just starts loading for a second or two. If anyone else is having that issue, can they just let us know in the chat? This is on Twitch. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not getting any drop frames from my side, and I'm getting a healthy kilobits per second up, and like the upstream is actually as good as it ever is. So I'm unsure about that one. Sorry, I really can't help with that one. But we'll leave the game manual there just so we can have a look at different mechanics as they sort of do come through. Right, Wars. I am actually on YouTube as well, by the way. If you do want to, it may be easier to watch on YouTube if that's the case. Sev was actually the viewer that was watching previously that had the same problem, but then found out it was actually to do with his ISP in his country or whatever it was. But he would switch to YouTube to watch, so that may help. So I'm streaming out to both at this point in time. Okay, let's go into it and start one of these games. So all of the other content with this special build that I have takes away all the other content, so I don't get to see all the other scenarios from the American Civil War campaign. I only get to see only two of the actual ones that we have through here. All good on YouTube, says Tom KMB. Thank you, Tom. So we've only got 2, but there's a lot more coming. Like there's the Charge of the Light Brigade, I believe. There's a whole range of other different things as well. So just sort of be aware there'll be a lot more than just 2 scenarios in the final build. But this is really just a bit of a sneak peek, really, at what's going to be coming. So sort of an advanced look. So let's go and play the campaign. So we choose our side. Now, by default, we're choosing as the Garibaldini. We can choose to play as the Bourbons, I think, if I click on that one there. Yeah, so I can choose to play the Bourbons if I wanted to, but the AI will then play as the Bourbons in this case. I can then sort of change the computer bonuses, etc. I'll just go and click on OK. And I always forget what the little acronyms and things are in these games, so I may have to. I'll be sort of fumbling around a little bit. As I said before, I've only just woken up, so I'm going to be a little bit groggy as we play this one. You've got different border styles, land counter styles. I'll just leave all this on recommended, so I won't sort of change those at all. You can also change, of course, the overall view of different units. You can sort of turn units back to more NATO style counters if you're wanting to. National colours you can turn on, whatever you sort of wanting to do in through here. You also then have like Fog of War, so play with enemy units hidden unless spotted by your own friendly forces. I like playing it this way in these sorts of games. That way you sort of you don't really know what's going to be coming ahead of you, which makes it's a bit more sort of realistic. Weather will also like play with weather effects such as rain, snow, and mud. This can then change your action points quite dramatically when you actually are playing. Undo moves, you don't have to play with undo moves, but you can do them just with Control Z. Retreats and through here allow units to retreat from combat whenever retreat rules would apply. So there's actually some fairly complex rules underneath the game that I'm guessing the more you understand those, the more enjoyable the game will be. And I'm not an expert in this game by any stretch, so I'm sort of hoping that I will actually learn a few little things as well as we get into it. So we've got and you've also then got like advanced rules in through here as well. So HQ names, for example, which will be important for us in this particular playthrough. Again, you've got all sorts of different things you can sort of then go and turn in or off. The fade in text after scroll, blah blah blah. Preferences, research we don't actually have. That's interesting, and diplomacy we don't have. This is going to make this one a simpler game to play because we don't have to deal with worrying about doing research. So play with this option to invest in research for potential unit upgrades. So if you're playing the American Civil War game, I guess the scope of the game is such that that they do actually have research, but this particular scenario doesn't use research, doesn't use diplomacy. I didn't know that until now. And of course, play with the option to invest in diplomacy in order to potentially sway other countries to your side. So the base game, the American Civil War game, has to deal with France and England and places like this where there's where there's potential for supply to come in and other units to sort of then help to fight with whatever's actually happening between the different forces. But in this case, that's not sort of that's not there. You do actually have also soft build units. Play with this option to purchase beyond the hard limit set with various unit types. I won't bother with. I'll just leave it on the default in through here. Disable game end date. That's actually can be cool when you're playing these games, just so you can keep on playing beyond the end of the actual game itself. Okay, that's sort of done. So we'll just go and click on OK there and get into it. How much time have we done? It's 14 minutes. We're under 15 minutes. We're actually getting to the game. That's pretty good for me. I usually waffle on for all sorts of different ways. This is the sort of will present the information to us. So, compatriots, the mission of this corps will be, as it always has been, based on complete self-sacrifice for the regeneration of the fatherland. The brave Cacciatori delle Alpi have served and will serve their country with the devotion and discipline of the best kind of soldiers, without any other hope, without any other claim than the satisfaction of their consciences. Not rank, not honour, not reward have enticed these brave men. They returned to the seclusion of private life when danger disappeared. But now that the hour of battle has come again, Italy sees them once more in the foremost rank, joyful, willing, and ready to shed their blood for her. The war cry of the Cacciatore dell'Alpe is the same as it was, which is re-echoed from the banks of the Ticino 12 months ago. Italia el Vittorio Emanuele. And this war cry from your lips will strike terror into the enemies of Italy. So this is a recommendation: advance into Sicily and defeat the Bourbon garrisons. So this is from Giuseppe Garibaldi. So we're playing as Giuseppe Garibaldi. Hi Began and Lost Raven. How you guys going? So anyway, we're playing as Garibaldi's troops. If you don't know much about Garibaldi, and I don't know a hell of a lot about Garibaldi, but he was a very, very important leader through the middle of the 1800s. He was actually ended up being invited to become a general, I think, for the Union side in the American Civil War, but actually ended up he wanted to have a very, very important role, like, you know, as in a role dictating sort of like much broader aims than what the Americans were willing to give him. So in the end, he didn't go and become a general, but he was considering it, I believe. I think it's one of the little things that I have read about Garibaldi. Garibaldi's one of those sort of figures, big, larger-than-life figures who has fought all over the world, doing different things. I think South America, he was very, very important, doing different things there as well. So, yeah, very, very interesting character, and I wish I knew more about him. Anyway, so we'll just click to dismiss that one. And here we go. Garibaldi and the 1,000 disembark at Marsala. So the 1,000 he's got like a red. He's got red shirts. The thing with the Garibaldi forces is they just dyed their shirts red. And we do have red actually on the bottom there, so that's sort of what and we have red shirts. There we go. So we've actually got so Garibaldi is in through here, and I can't zoom any further in with Garibaldi. This is sort of like the overall map of what we do. We use arrow keys to move around the actual map. So that's where we are with Sicily, the southern part of Spain. I'm not sure if we end up. There's probably nothing really that's done down through here in Tunisia or over through here. We do actually have. It looks like it's a Bourbon area. Yeah. Okay. What we've got is the Bourbons are actually here over on this landmass in Sardinia. So I think is it Sardinia and Corsica back up here. So I think that's Corsica at the top there. I'm assuming that is. So anyway, we've got this sort of coming in through this other side, and it looks like they've got supply that is sort of coming in from this particular location across. Let's have a bit of a look and see what you end up getting with the game, and we'll just sort of explore our way through it and just sort of see what has to happen. So it looks like Palermo is a major centre that we're going to need to be taking. We've got Messina and Reggio back over there on the other side of the straits. I can put on grid, so I wonder if that will make it a bit easier. I might just leave that on there, just so you can sort of see the actual the way it's sort of laid out. For a war game, it actually looks great. It's sort of like it's got much better visuals than most other war games. Like most other war games are very, very bare bones in terms of their actual vision and visuals with what actually happens. We've got a fog of war that goes into there, and anything outside the fog of war, we're not seeing the actual supply bonus of the actual cities around us. We have our primary supply is at Marsala, so we've got Marsala in through there. The other little locations back on this other side as well. Garibaldi himself is back in through here, so we've actually got Garibaldi. When I click on him, that's interesting. This unit is not not under his control. I don't think if I go and click on that one. Oh no, it is it? It's hard to sort of tell there. It's can't pick and see which one's the. I guess it has to be, absolutely has to be. So we're going to We're going to be wanting to take the various locations as we sort of start to move through, and we need to sort of then start to claim more territory. So it's going to be a fairly basic sort of start. Can we move Garibaldi up? We can only move him like a single point at a time. And I'll be wanting to sort of take the various locations in through here. So let's just go and we'll start this way and move that one up, and then move it out this other side and just push back the borders. So we'll get the border sort of pushing. That will then bring Trapani into the mix, and we'll try to invest Palermo just with these 2 different units. The 12 points, as you can see down through there, if I click on it, it's got 12 of 10. So we've actually got an overpowered unit. So at the start, these are actually stronger than what they really should be. And we will keep on I'll sort of zip around. I think if I go into here, I don't know if I should, I'll go back down this way as well. So we'll just move that one with Salerni, and we'll just move Garibaldi along as well. Now, Garibaldi, if I can do sort of like, I don't know what, if I double click, what's that one doing? That's showing that may be the supply range that he has. If I go, I've got different things. Again, I'm going to be fumbling around here a little bit to try to figure out what we can do. With basic units, you can double click them to give them forced march. So I might just move my head down away from the top here, guys. Just bear with me. And I'll just move my head down. Down there somewhere, I think. Hopefully that will not be in the way. It's better there anyway. Yep, that's good. Yep, that's Sardinia. There we go, says Andrew. Thank you for that. He invented a biscuit. Did he? I don't know the Garibaldi biscuits. That's interesting. What flavour are they? Are they sort of like I'm guessing that they would be a fairly boring army type cracker or something like that, I would imagine. Anyway, we've got different things we can then have a look at with the actual game itself. So we'll have a quick look at what we have. The reports will then just go through. Actually, this one I thought it was going to go through the actual reports that we had at the start there, but it's not. This is just giving us the 2 Sicilies is sort of like the area that we're actually attacking, and then Italy, the United Italy, is sort of us coming back through with the reddish colour. And what do we have there? Just this showing what we actually have with the capital cities, town fortified towns in through there. We've got like 3 points in that run through there, ports and mines. Mines will be, I think, also for supply. I think that sort of helps in that regard. Graphs, we don't get to see much yet. We'll come back to all this stuff, I think. We'll just close that one off. We do actually have war maps back and through here as well. Yeah, here we go. So we can sort of see what's going on. So this is actually a Sardinia, Piedmont in through that other side. We've got France or Corsica back up that side as well. The Papal States at the top there, 2 Sicilies. So that's actually going to be who we're going to be mainly fighting, I guess, back up in this region. I'm not sure why Tunisia is down here. I didn't think that they were part of this. The reconquest of Italy, or the combined like combining Italy into one area. So, but it looks like we can actually, if I go and click on them, yeah, it's got different bonuses in through there. I can't declare war. I don't have diplomacy, etc. I don't know what the percentages are. Oh, that's must be the percentage of what actually does happen here. If we go and click on this area through here, so this is. It's funny, it's got Italy, Garibaldini, 100%. Well, we don't actually have this yet. So, yeah, I'm not sure what's happening there. And we don't declare war there. I'm not sure why that's there either. Convoy map. Yeah, that's the only convoys that are coming through from that location. So we can close that one off. So there is supply coming from that side. Strategy map, just showing the actual units. So we'll close that one off as well. And close the war maps. We also then have purchases we can do. In some of the scenarios we'll actually have these, some of them won't. Now these are the MPP, I forget what that stands for. I always, whenever I play this game, I always forget what the MPP actually is. Not that it actually matters, but it's actually essentially the money points. Now what do we end up having? That's MPP up there. It's quite important. It's a very, very important thing, but I don't know what it actually stands for. And as soon as someone says it, I think, oh, yeah, of course, that's what it is. But it's sort of like we use these we spend these to get other units. And so we've essentially got, we've only got one country that we can sort of select from at this stage. The game can be really quite broad. Like if you are playing it, like different strategic command games will actually have multiple countries. In fact, I think even the other scenario has got like multiple countries you can play as. And so you've then got different things, either HQs, which sort of come through. You can see there 405 MPP in through there, 390 for that one through this other side. This will be their leadership rating. and so not sure why. Oh yeah, no, they cost a little bit more than Paterno. Paterno is only 375 MPP. Obviously means more pretty points, says Gentleman Skeleton. Thank you for that one. And saying good morning. Apologise if you've already answered this question yet, but what war does this game cover? I assume the Napoleonic. Well, no, it's actually after. This is what makes this game quite interesting, or this actual DLC interesting. It doesn't cover the Napoleonics. It covers the Age of Rifles, which came after the Napoleonics. So it's sort of from around about the American Civil War era. And I said before, like one of my favourite series of books is the Flashman books, which cover this period of history really, really well. And so, like, I love reading those. It's sort of, they're novels but based on history. They're sort of like they take a slant on history that is just sort of a bit of a funny sort of slant on history, but they do really cover this Age of Rifles era very, very well across the world. And so the Concert of Europe DLC is going to be covering that Age of Rifles sort of era with different sorts of mainly European colonization or expansion, wars of expansion. So for example, the Rorke's Drift would be the battle against the Zulus would be in that era. I don't know if that's going to be part of this. Probably not, but actually maybe. I don't know. I don't know what other scenarios are coming. We've only got access to 2 of them. And that's all we've actually got at this point in time. But there are more on the way. I know that, for example, the Battle of Alma, and which is sort of like the Charge of the Light Brigade in the Crimea, is going to be one of the scenarios, which we don't have access to that one as well. So there's a few. There is actually an area, so something where is it? It's actually got the, my mind's gone blank. We've got a developers, God, my mind's gone completely blank with this. Sorry, I'm usually asleep at this time. Anyway, so it's... with what actually does go on with this one, it's there's scenarios that the developers have been talking about 2 other different scenarios on their dev logs. That was a hard 2-syllable word. We've got a dev log out that does cover two different scenarios than the 2 that we've got to play in through here as well. So just having a bit of a read. So saying interesting, I actually don't know much about the Age of Rifles in Europe. Being raised in America, you've only taught a chunk of the American Civil War. Well, the American Civil War was sort of right in the middle of the Age of Rifles, really. Like it's sort of, I guess it defined it. Like it's where where the American Civil War is sort of where things change from line fighting, like the Napoleonic type fighting, through to which they were still sort of doing line fighting even in the American Civil War, but into more of a modern sort of approach where, because the rifles became so much more powerful and so much more accurate, they couldn't just walk around in lines anymore. They also had different range. So it's an interesting sort of time in history where still some thinking was that you sort of walked in Napoleonic lines, and then eventually it became much more modern in its approach, like with trenches and so on and so forth, particularly as the lead into World War One. But World War One still had the same sort of issue of moving forces out, so it's an interesting transition historically. I find the Age of Rifles, it's sort of it's before the World War One era, but leading up to World War One essentially, but from the Napoleonics to World War One. So anyway, it is an interesting site. Gentleman Skeleton saying it really unfortunate. I wish that history was treated more seriously in American schools. I think that's global, and I think it's less now than what it used to be. I think we used to get taught a lot more about history, particularly ancient history as well. Like like in schools, and I don't know if they teach that anymore. Like the the Greeks and the Romans and so on and so forth, all that classical history. But I actually find that this more recent history, like much more recent than the classics, more engaging than the classical histories. Okay, so Mr. Faber is saying, "Lol, Dad's battling to urge from forming Italy to reforming the Roman Empire. Tunis should be neutral." Oh, there we go. It should be. It should be. So Yeah, incognito saying only what they want to tell you. That's actually a real shame, you know. Like, I think that you learn so much from history because it helps you to not repeat your mistakes. And it's sort of one of those things when, like, it's, you know, in recent times there's been that thing where people, you know, tear down statues of people that they don't like and stuff like that. But you've got to remember the good and the bad. You know, like it's sort of it's very important that you don't lose sight of where we've come from and how we've, you know, improved as culturally. You know, and when you lose these you know, things that you may disagree with, it's still important to know why you disagree and what they did and so on and so forth. Anyway, it's just strange. Strange times we live in. Very, very strange. So Dave is saying, oh, here we go. This is the biscuits he was mentioning. So this is current sandwich between two layers of dough. Was likely named to capitalise on Garibaldi's widespread popularity in the UK, especially following his significant visit to England. Okay, yeah, I don't know about his visit to England, but I know that he was a global figure. He wasn't just an Italian figure. But best known for what he did in Italy. And Dave's then sort of saying Giuseppe Garibaldi was a beloved figure in Britain during the 1850s and 1860s, known for his revolutionary efforts to unify Italy. But he was invited to the American Civil War, but in the end didn't go, and because he wanted to be like one of the major generals leading forces there, and I think they just wanted him as a minor figure back over there as well. Miguel is in saying, sorry, usually I'm asleep at this time. Yeah, classic Daz. Oh, it's sort of, I've basically, this is my allocated time from Slytherin at this point in time to try to get this done, because they've got they've got a big interview coming up, which will sort of switch. We'll finish this in an hour and a half, essentially, from now, and then we'll do a raid across. If you're watching here on Twitch, we'll raid across onto their channel, so you can actually sort of watch that particular interview, which they've got the developer of Polytopia, which is a smallish game. I have played it, but haven't played it for a few years. And the other one is Tempest Rising, the developer of Tempest Rising. So nothing to do with Slytherin games at all, but just Marco, the marketing manager, will be sort of just going through, you know, game design and so on and so forth with them, which I always find it interesting whenever those sorts of discussions are had, which is great. Gentleman Skeleton saying it's sad but true. Out of every field of knowledge, I adore history the most. Loving history and loving strategy games pair extremely well. They do. I think you learn so much about history from strategy games, and these games are no exception. You do learn a lot about what went on. You get a broader perspective of what goes on, and I think it's one thing I like so far is that it seems that political correctness has not hit the historic strategy games. They seem to still look at the history as number one and not try to make it compatible for modern audiences. So they still are very, very in-depth ways of actually looking at the history of what went on. All right. What we also then have is just having a quick look and see what they actually end up doing. So these are available. We only have 25 MPPs. Oh, I forget what that is. God, I wish I knew what that was. What I'm going to do is that's going to drive me nuts now. So I'm just going to have a quick look and see if I can search for MPP. Military production points. There we go. Makes perfect sense. So that's what they are. They're military production points, which we already knew, but just didn't know they just couldn't put it through. So it's essentially production points. With what we end up having through that other side. We also can ultimately, so we can buy these in once we actually get enough of them, but we're a long, long way off getting these at this point in time. And then we've got brigades as well. For 200, we can sort of go and start to buy in more red shirt brigades for 200 of these. And from these, we can then sort of see what the different bonuses are that they actually then give us. So, and this is actually pretty cool as well. The way it sort of does work through here, like generally, spotting on land or naval is going to be 1, 4 action points. The leaders tend to only have 3, so they've only got 3 action points, but the brigades will have 4. Might as well have a look at this now and just go through it. Operational range, intercept range, escort range is all going to be 0. These are going to be sort of more, I guess, for more modern, maybe aeroplanes or ships, things like that. Attack range of just 1 on these sort of maps. And again, the units can be defined specifically for each scenario. So the scenarios are built from the ground up, essentially. Minimum shells, maximum shells if they're artillery. De-entrenchment 1, demoralization 0, escorts attacks 1. I'm thinking that all of ours will have this sort of stuff. Attack values and defense values are likely to be the same against soft targets 3. Infantry 2, cavalry 2. I'm not sure what that actually is through there. Attack values against artillery is 3, but defense against artillery is 0. Attack values against forts is 2. Defense goes up a little bit with 3. Armoured trains, 2 attack, 4 defence if we've got an armoured train. I don't know if we'll have them in this part of Italy. Balloons, 6, so 6 attack on balloons. So you can see there in their ironclads, wooden ships, subs. I'm not sure why there'd be subs in this era, but anyway, there is, potentially, and 6 on transport. So if the Bourbons do have submarines, we'll be able to attack them with an attack of 5. I'm not sure why that's there. We also have production down through here as well, but we're not going to see much in through this other side. There may be stuff that does come through with that particular area. We'll just leave that one there because we're going to have a long period before we can actually go and bring anything in from that side. We've only got these 2 units, which makes the game fairly approachable. You wouldn't believe I've been doing this for half an hour and have only moved, I haven't even ended my first turn yet. So we will actually go and do that one now. Actually, one thing I do want to talk about is the buttons down through here as well. So we've already done the hide or show grid. I'll leave that one on. We can also then hide or show the different units that are there. And so we can see down through here, this is Palermo, which is a capital. It's got a value of 1 MPP per strength point. So ultimately, that can be that can sort of get up to a fair amount of income. So we'll definitely need to take Palermo, which will be very, very critical. It's got a FS value. I don't know what that actually is, of 20, maximum entrenchment of 2. So it's not very heavily, not a lot you can do with entrenchment there. That's also just 2. So Palermo is not like a major fort. It's actually sort of nothing too much. I wonder if the other areas into here, what do they have? Maximum entrenchment of 2. In fact, even around the hills have actually got better entrenchment. Like this mountains in here have got a maximum entrenchment of 3. Reggio is also maximum entrenchment of just 2. Down this way, again with the mountains with better entrenchment in around it. So if there's units, at the moment we've got like a maximum entrenchment of 2 through there again, movement cost of +1 because it's on a road. We've got mountains there as well, so anything entrenched in the mountains will be a little bit more hard to dislodge than here. So this becomes sort of like more of an attack point once we get to see what it actually is. So anyway, that's the... we're still just doing this bits and pieces. This is supply. Now supply you toggle up to 3 times. We have 8 supply. You'll see the number 8 coming in through this other side. And so it diminishes by 1 for each... typically by 1 for each hex that it has to then move through, but as it goes through more difficult terrain, there's actually it actually reduces even more. So capturing roads in this game is very, very important, and also cutting off roads if there's units that that can be surrounded is also vitally important. So a lot of the strategy of strategic command is actually this aspect of making sure that you have roads to keep your supply running and cutting off the enemy roads. So it's a simple thing to say, but it actually does add a lot of fun to the game to be thinking of in terms of, okay, well, these roads as they come through, what's that going to do to the actual strategy, to the supply? And if we click it a second time, I then get to sort of see it in a more broad sense as to what would then sort of happen. So we end up with I forget what actually this second one click is. Because that's sort of, I think, like maximum. Oh, this is Garibaldi himself is also pushing supply. You can see he's at 10, then 9, 8, 7, 6. So we can actually ultimately get this one across. But to go from Corleone in through here across into this mountain there's a dramatic, even though it's a road, it's not a connected road. And so we don't get the benefit of that one, but eventually it sort of comes back down into these. So Garibaldi is also a source of supply, and supply is very, very important in this game. So your leaders will often have a minimum of 3 supply that they'll always have, so keeping units around leaders can be very, very helpful as well in the game. If I click it another time, I might have to leave it on. This is supply coming from there, but Garibaldi himself also has supply. But it might even be for the next turn, you know. I'll see what actually happens here. We'll leave it on and just watch what actually does happen. This is the upgradable units. We don't have any at this stage, so we don't have any units that can be upgraded. And then if we do want to actually reinforce units, we would then be able to click on that one to then see what they have. The upgrade tool, if we can do upgrades, will be there. The reinforcement tool, we will definitely be using that in this playthrough. And then finally we have the sleep tool. If we wanted to position a unit and then not move them, we can then put them to sleep at a location. They become like a garrison. Anyway, let's end our turn, finally. Only 40 minutes in. So do you really want to enter turn? Yes. Okay, so volunteers from Salimi join the Garibaldini. That's cool. Oh, and peasants in Corleone revolt against the Bourbons. Ah, cool. We've got a group in there as well. So, so the Italians are rising up as Garibaldi sort of hits their shores, which is cool. So we collect only 3 MPP this turn. I'm not sure where we get them from. I'll have a quick look at Masala and just see if that's actually got something that's actually happening through there. Compatriots! The tyrannical rule of the Bourbons has sparked revolts throughout Sicily as the peasants throw off the chains of their oppressors. As our corps advances across the land and the messages of their coming liberation spread, we inspire further bands of partisans to form against our enemies. These squadre will provide valuable reinforcements to the 1,000, further weakening the Bourbons' grip on power. The morale of the Bourbon garrisons in Palermo and Messina is known to be poor, and may even be possible to prompt the Bourbon army itself to desert should their cause appear hopeless. With the people behind our cause, these symbols of oppression cannot stand long. Recommendation: move a unit directly adjacent to the forces of Palermo, Messina and Reggio to force the fortress and the garrisons to surrender. So we don't actually have, looks like we don't have to actually do an attack, we just have to be right next to it and sort of put the pressure on. So we'll sort of start to move up towards that in that sort of sense. We'll see what actually does happen. We are now seeing units up in this other side, so we'll start to, and this one looks to be the easiest one for us to push forward. Now, these are partisans, but partisans are different. I thought partisans were abstracted in the game. I may be wrong about, well, I am wrong about that, because these are not what I thought they would be. Now, I'm going to use the partisans to claim territory. So let's go and get them moving along. And just get different areas. If we have a quick look at supply again, if I just right click, I can then let that one go. So we're getting a little bit of supply from Corleone itself. We now have the supply from, yeah, so this is actually now the current turn. So when we click on the current turn, which is sort of related to what we have, if I click it a second time, from where we currently are, that's where the supply will ultimately end up being. But we'll be wanting to sort of course, grab this area, this road, that one through there. I probably want to actually keep the pressure on with different units as we sort of move up these different roads. So I think I'll move up and try to put more pressure on these mountains and up this other side. Let's just go and turn those supplies off for now. There we are, we're seeing more of them. So we actually do have, these are strength 10. So these are fairly strong. These are brigades of the two Sicilies, strength 10, supply 6, so they're getting 6 supply. And again, I don't know if we get to see their supply. No, we're not really sort of seeing that as such. We're seeing what would happen if we took that when we actually do look at the supply. Action points 4, 1 attack. Readiness is only 61%. We don't know this one here. Yet we don't know what their readiness actually is. What's ours? Our readiness is only 42%. Oh damn, I didn't mean to do that. I accidentally left clicked with my unit selected. Oh well. Their readiness went down slightly. Entrenchment is 3, backing through this other side, so that was a mistake. I didn't mean to do that particular one. The entrenchment is 3 there. Entrenchment is 2. So these are, they've got, like these will have the maximum entrenchment. So let's move these units up. Now, zone of control, what this one does is it stops action points when you sort of bring it in. So it's going to then impact the actual action points of moving into a zone of control. Let's just move it up. Oh, there's a commander back in through there. Now, if I attack this one through here, we're going to take a little bit of damage ourselves. So we're going to have, you can see down the very, very bottom, there's sort of like a predictor of what's going to actually happen through here. Now, the red shirts have got 92% readiness, 73% morale. I'm going to keep on moving things up. At this point in time, they should be inside the zone of control. Yeah, these are actually all, these have all got the highlighted green, so these are Garibaldini units. I'm going to move that one up as well. Into here. Just get that one ready to put pressure on. I won't actually attack this unit. So I'll just keep those sort of where they are. I don't think that may not have been a great move. We'll see how we go. Luckily we only lost one there. We do actually now have the road open to Corleone. Can't move that. Oh, you've already moved that one down to there to get to Mazzara back into here. So getting these extra units is going to be useful to us. So these are essentially just partisans, strength 7 of 8. So 8 is their maximum. Back into this other side. Supply of only 3. Action points 0 of 4 now. So we've got no more action points with any of these units. We do have one more action point with Garibaldi, but we can only really move back along the road if we were going to sort of do that particular move. So we'll end our turn here again. I don't think there's anything else we need to do. So we're getting only 3 military production points per turn. Okay, we raise volunteers on the march on Palermo. That's cool. Oh, we've got more at Salerni. That's awesome. And we collect 4 MPP. Alright, we're getting more units. So I'll bring them into the zone of control. Now, with the different attacks that are coming back in through here, they've got high readiness there. They will take a bit of a beating on that side. I think we're just going to have to start to push this particular attack. There's not much else we can really do there. Let's just go and keep on moving these up and into positions. Yeah, there's most likely chances that we lose 2 units here. And if we attack that way, what we really want to be doing here is sort of cutting them off and grabbing more areas. So let's just keep on sort of putting pressure on the Palermo garrison, and should be able to take these different locations. So we'll just move down along the road here with this particular force. That way we'll end up sort of liberating more of the Italian areas. Now this one here is, we've now got a better attack. So if we have a bit of a look at this one through here, they're going to take 3 damage and we're going to take 1. If I attack with this unit here, we lose 2 and they gain 1. It's because I think we've got like a 2 to 1. I wish there was a way to see exactly what that combat was. That's the map info. I'm not sure what that's going to show us. What else do we have? Rename, properties, sleep. We've got a properties, that's just going to tell me the same sort of information that we've seen there before. Yeah, so this is just the red shirts. Just go to OK there. Well, I'm thinking, I mean, that's certainly good. I'm just trying to figure out why that attack is happening there. Well, what we end up doing with this particular one. I might have a quick look in the manual actually, and so we just see if we can actually get it more defined. If we go down to combat, the options, game essentials, combat. Let's just have a quick look at this one through here. Yep, each unit has unique attack and defense values. Yep, combat results are affected by unit readiness and their relevant combat factors. Okay, that's okay. Entrenchment provides some bonus from losses. I know that the leader that we end up having is like, you know, having the leader right next to them is going to be helpful for their for what they can then go and do. We've got Fighting Spirit HQs back and through here as well. Provide probably the most important in the game is not only they provide supply but also provide combat bonuses to units under their command. In particular, HQs with a rating greater than 8, which was what we have with Garibaldi, will increase the prepared attack bonus of units under their command by 10%. By default, HQs command 5 units within 3 hexes. Okay, that's cool. Just keep on going back down. We've got the supply rules down through there as well. Partisans. So this is actually, I don't think the partisans that we have are exactly, exactly what we're thinking they are. Maybe they are. Here they are. Units deploy at strength 8 always have a minimum supply level of 3. And okay, they are partisans. So these can actually then sort of roam around the map and do what they need to do. Might just make it so that this is full width, just so you can sort of see what I'm seeing here. Make it nice and big, really big, is what we actually have. So, and again, there'll often be like specific things you can then go and do. That's weather. Movement and combat, the basics, turn activities, moving units, that's okay. We've got surprise contacts, which we sort of haven't had any of those just yet. Zones of control, back and down through here. In addition to the terrain penalties listed above, most land units exert a zone of control, hindering enemy movement in adjacent hexes. Yep, that's okay. One front unit will exert a zone of control, and this means that all enemy units moving into it within one hex of it will have to pay an extra action point. That's okay. Exceptions, weak units, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. Land movement, naval movement, combat. Here we go. So combat, there's 2 basic types of combat, land and naval. Combat predictions. Before attacking, the estimated combat results from an attack can be seen. What I would like to do is find out exactly how that's calculated. It can be seen as well as this. It's centered in the information panel, which we see at the bottom of the screen. Fighting Spirit bonuses. Whenever an enemy unit is destroyed, when its supply status is less than 5, the major whose unit destroyed it will receive a Fighting Spirit bonus equal to the MPP cost of the unit it's just destroyed. If a unit belonging to a minor power destroys an enemy unit, then its controlling major will receive the major being the major power will receive the Fighting Spirit bonus. Now, what have we got prepared? Artillery works differently as it may fire offensively. Yeah, blah blah blah. Launching attacks. So if we had artillery, they could fire within 2 hexes. Have a quick look down and sort of see what we've got. HQ units cannot attack at all since they are administrative in nature. Prepared attack. A prepared attack occurs when a land unit, excepting any artillery units, attacks without moving first. Right, which is what we've got. This is why we're actually getting the good numbers. The attacking unit receives a 40% readiness bonus in the combat calculations, 50% if commanded by an HQ with rating greater or equal to 8. So that's good, which is what we have. Although none of the official American Civil War campaigns allow units to do so, if a unit can launch 2 or more attacks, it will only benefit from the prepared attack bonus with its first attack. So that may happen with what we have, with what we're doing, maybe. Regular combat occurs when a land unit moves before attacking. So this is important stuff for us to know. Attacks and action points. Each attack costs 1 action point, so a unit that attacks before moving its full potential distance will have its potential movement distance reduced. River crossings. When attacking across enemy-held watercourses, the attacker suffers a readiness penalty. So readiness is the multiplier that really we need to be aware of, which is again why things are sort of working. Now, offensive and defensive artillery. Yeah, we don't have that just yet. Retreats. We don't have that just yet. Shattered units. That's okay. Yeah, okay. So it is just the. I thought there may be something where we end up with the bonus of what's next to us, and I probably would have been interesting to have seen what the odds were before I moved that unit up. But minefields. There are submarines. Okay. I just thought that'd be ridiculous in this era, but of course they were sort of starting to experiment with these, weren't they? Shore bombardments, convoy raiders, blah blah blah, which we don't need to worry about. Let's get back into it. So we do actually have a bonus here because we haven't moved. So let's go and do it. So all I do is just left click, and we didn't take any damage there. I don't get another shot. That's all I actually get. This one now, I do, even though this is a non-prepared attack, I won't rush this. I'm just going to leave both of these here, and we'll see what actually happens next turn. Everyone has now moved, I think, if we just keep on going through to the various units. This one can move, but I don't need it to. It just can't attack. So I'm going to leave that one where that is, and everyone has sort of now done what they have to do. So we will end our turn there. Now getting 6 MPP. I'm not sure where the MPP are coming from. I'm assuming from Masala. That would be, I think it's 3, I'm not sure, yeah, 4, 5, 6 maybe. These are red, so I don't think we're getting it from there. Now they've tried to reinforce those. So we got rained. So now we have to look at weather. So weather is a random element that does come into the actual game itself. Now, if I click on supply, I can then sort of see what the supply levels are for the different units. So the partisans will always be in supply, which is quite useful. And then we'll just move up into the middle of the map. Looks like this has now gone to white, so I'm assuming we're going to start to pick up points for that one. Let's just move all the way along, just push forward with the partisans to get further into the territory. So if I attack there, I've got a negative coming back in. If I attack that one there, there's now a 0-4. And if I glow with that one there, it's also a 0-4. Only got 3 of them. Now we've got the chance to completely wipe it out. Awesome. Now we can move into Palermo, and we've got a leader right there. This is also a 10. This is Landy, who is... oh no, he's only a 3. Garibaldi is a 10 into this other side. Let's keep on moving down. He still can give the bonus to these different units. So these are all getting the Garibaldi bonus. They've got the green underneath them. So we do actually have this prepared defense bonus. But we are now right next to Palermo, which is sort of what the objective was. We just had to move next to it, and it puts pressure on them to then give up. I'm going to leave that unit where that is, and then we'll start to sort of move the others across. So that's now got that across. So we've now got the western portion of Sicily, pretty much. And we'll end our turn there. Moving 8, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know if these were kicking in at that last one. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how these are working. Oh, there we go. We did a bit of a surprise attack on those units. The garrison of Palermo surrenders to Garibaldi. So all we have to do is just move next to the actual garrisons, and we then get them as per the guide, what the guide was saying. And so they all disappear. And we can now move into here. So we've now got this one. And we now need to keep on marching down the peninsula. Well, not peninsula, down the island. We're going to need to get down to Syracuse as well, which is an objective, secondary supply down through there. So this will be the next lot of supplies. So the next phase will be fighting through these mountains, I would think. So we can sort of just sit back where we are here, and then just wait for the other units to sort of reach us. Now this one here can march a long way. What I can do is if I click a second time, they should have a forced march. No, that's not it. Yeah, that's it there. That's forced march there. So I can actually bring those out, but it does severely weaken them, so I don't want to do that. So I just want to sort of have them thump along, just doing what they do. Might take that one to the south. And bring these strong units back through here. So this is cool. We haven't had to haven't had to affect those at all. Let's have a quick look at our supply situation. So next turn we got less supply with Garibaldi at the moment, but we will be able to at least get a little bit of supply coming through. It's certainly enough. These guys, we don't have to worry about supply for the partisans. They live off the land. I knew there were special rules for partisans. Hi Tenru, how you going? Yep, that's all good. So there's no other questions there. But if you've got questions, I'll do my best to answer it. What's that one there? This is Italy, 100% mobilisation. Fighting spirit is at 95%. So that's actually good with what we have down through there. We're only up to 46. So we need to get up to 200 odd before we can get another brigade in. They all moved. The other one can keep on moving. Oh, I should have gone that way. Oh well. Got this unit that will be coming down as well. So we'll sort of we'll bring that one through the centre. I'll get to Etna or Enna in through this other side. How does this game compare to Shadow Empire? Says Tenru. It's not random, so it doesn't have random maps. It's historic. And all of the strategic command games are very much based on history, where it's sort of like an alternate history ultimately, because what ends up happening is you've got the parameters, historical parameters when you start, and then you can just run your own campaign. And so depending on the scale or scope of the actual scenario, it doesn't push the history down your throat. Like, so a lot of these sort of historical type games will ultimately end up forcing the history to end up being the history. You still get different bonuses and things, but this is much more loose in that sense. So it's a nice combination of having a historic start and then moving ahistorically beyond that, but still within the same parameters of what happened within history. So it does allow you to sort of play. So I don't know if that makes much sense. It becomes more open than a lot of other war games. Let's just put it that way. It's much more approachable than most other war games. I don't think I can move any of those. They've all moved. We'll just go and end our turn there. Do you really want to end your turn? Yes. Yep, support for Garibaldi is strengthened by the capture of Palermo. That should mean more MPP, I guess. The fall of Palermo reduces Bourbon fighting spirit. So Italy collects 11 MPP, plus 30... okay, so we ended up with 141 MPP. We ended up with plus 30 Sardinia Piedmont through that side, and plus 100 surrender of Palermo. So I'm not sure why that came in, but it's given us 141 MPP, which has got us close to being able to get another unity. Now we took damage there. Okay, we'll cut this off in this area. I think I'll just take this. I should have. Yeah, I'll move across into this road. We'll take this location in the centre of the map here. How logistics and city building aspect is. There's no city building at all. The cities are what we sort of see through here. I don't know if we can sort of see much about what's going on with this on the actual map itself. But if we go to Corleone, it's got a there we go. Its value is 1.75 MPP. So essentially, what's already on the map will then give me military production points. That's 2 production points, and through there, that's 2. You can see there. This is 0.25 MPP per strength point. Depending on what it actually is, yeah, 0.25. So the strength point there of 8 is multiplied by 0.25, giving us 2 MPP at the start of each turn. So getting these locations is important to get our production points up, so we can start to buy in different units. And it should come back through Marsala, which is our primary supply. We've now cut off the convoys that were coming from Cagliari, the capital of the Bourbons, back through there. So they no longer have access to Palermo. So you just conquer what exists and flood the map with units, pretty much. Although you often don't get to flood the map. Quite often you're stuck with the units that you have. Sometimes there'll be historical additions to units that actually come in, and so In this case, what we're doing is we're finding partisans as we sort of are liberating Sicily. We're getting more and more of these partisan units that are sort of being liberated. So we're getting free units, essentially. Just move this one across into there. This one here, what I can do with this one is I could possibly, actually I'll just go and right click. If I can actually reinforce a unit, I can actually, see how it's turned green? I can actually reinforce that one back up a little bit. So I'm just going to go and actually do that one, which then took a little bit off my MPP, just to give it back up to full strength. So it's now at 8. I'm just going to leave it where it is, and then we'll actually get rid of these guys. We'll ultimately surround them. Got this unit as well coming down this way, and then, oh, he can't actually get through the river there. Sorry, through the mountains. So Garibaldi is stuck. We're going to need to move him onto a road, just so we can. That was a mistake, moving him into the non-road areas. So his supply is, if I just right-click, I can then sort of get the supply. So he's only got 8 supply next turn through here. If I get him on a road, he's going to then ultimately have more supply. So we'll get him across to Palermo, and then down along this road to just be with the rest of his forces. The partisans can just keep on doing their expansion without any real concern. So we'll just go and turn that supply off for a second. Yeah, so we've just replenished that unit. These units are still full strength. He's only got the connection here with his actual leadership. So this one is now falling outside his leadership. So I've got those 2 there. So what's that? 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. So he can only do a range of 6. I'm not sure how we show the leadership area. Set mode. What's that? Auto assist. Manual. Not sure how they work. This is the leadership side of things with with what you end up having. I'll just leave it on auto. I think it just means that if I'm close enough, it's just going to automatically sort of help different things. We're getting close to being able to purchase something, but we may need to just keep on replenishing our troops anyway with the production points. I think that's everyone. Everyone's now sort of moved at this point in time. Yep, that's okay. So we'll end our turn there. Hi, von Schweinhund, how are you going? So only today, no World War, or is the series finished? Hang on, so no WW. Hang on, what was that? Yeah, that's right. We're going to play. Today's normally my day for the worldly. What is it? The Distant Worlds. Worldly Wednesday. There we are. It's Thursday for me. That's why I get a bit confused. So it's currently Thursday for me, but. I don't know. Actually, I need to go back and have some sleep. I'll see how I go time wise. I may be able to do it a bit later. If I have like a few more hours sleep in between, I'll probably be okay to do a bit more of Distant Worlds, but most likely not. I won't know really until I wake up again. I'll wake up too early for this one. So yeah. So we'll see how we go. As you can sort of tell, I'm a bit groggy even still. So you really want to end this turn? I'll just go yes. Okay, we've got 68 MPP, that's good. Now we've got supplies captured from Calton Sata. Oh, from in here. Alright, so we did actually pick up some more. I'm going to try to split this if I can. Calculating supply. I'll just go and take this location as well. Bring them up. Bring them across. And I don't want to do an attack until we've got a prepared attack. And we'll bring Garibaldi now along the road here. So supply wise, let's have a quick look at see how supply is going again for the next turn. So that's sort of like at the start of the turn. The next turn we get a little bit more now because we're now getting 10 supply because he's actually close to Palermo and on the road. So we'll keep him on this northern road, or potentially even this road, this secondary road down through here. We'll sort of then get that sort of working fairly well. This unit here now, yeah, there is a group there. I'm just going to move back. Oh, actually, you know, I could have left that in there, but I don't think it's going to be able to move off. We'll just keep it sort of happening there. There's Mount Etna there, the big volcano on Sicily. We now have 240 MPP, so if we go now to our purchases, we can go to a brigade, and I'm assuming we can bring one of these in. So if we just go and purchase a brigade, yep, that's got us down to 40. So I'm not sure when we get it. I might just go and confirm, click on confirm purchases, but we'll go and close that one off. And I'm assuming that next turn we'll get that over here, I think. I'm assuming that's where that one will come. I don't think we've got any other locations anywhere else where we have to sort of bring them back through. I know that they were attacking from further north, actually. Like they were much further north than just Rome. So our production is coming off map, but it should arrive at one of these locations, I would guess, next term. We certainly spent the points. All right, so we'll now if I attack into there, it's a 1v1 scenario, which we're not going to worry about. And this is one of these things where if I can get in behind it, that will then cut supply. So we may even start to sort of look at that with our various units. I do want to keep in there. There's some really good defense in through this other side with this river. So even if these guys really won't be able to attack me very well down through this other side, but we could even get across the river and see what happens down this way. There's a lot more locations down this side to get more military production points. So I'll bring this unit down through the south and see how we go there. Again, with this sort of creek that's running through here, we're getting good. They possibly will be in Licata as well. That would be a good location for the enemy to position itself. Generally saying, I got to say, I like how the border is depicted in this game. Shadow Empire could learn from this. Yeah, it's a very good looking game. The strategic command games, they really are a nice. You can see that like Shadow Empire is more traditional in terms of the way it sort of presents the visuals. It's sort of much more NATO, which you can make this one look like a NATO game, but this is like with the different things that the NATO commands can then sort of give. But in this case, yes, it's a nice little game. It is a great little game. Let's go and wait until we've actually got everything established for the attack, and we'll try to get Garibaldi a little bit closer in. I think Garibaldi will be able to make it to there next turn. So we'll end our turn here. There we go. Giacomo Medici and the second expedition arrived to support Garibaldi. There we go. So where are you going? There he goes. Oh, that's actually that's actually must have been a planned thing, because we didn't actually ask for that. So we've got like a new leader plus some other groups have come in as well. We should have another one as well, I would have thought. So Medici is only a level 6 general, not a level 10. So he's sort of like a low level general. Let's move these to the south. Move that one down to the south as well. There we go, we've cut off the southern part. Now, attacking into here, we do actually do 2 damage, but they are fairly well protected. This is one of these things where, again, where if we can sort of get in behind them, we're going to be able to cut off the road. And we can go a little bit further there, that's good. So we'll bring Garibaldi down towards the other group, and we'll surround this unit. This will then starve it of supply. So it won't be able to get its supply. Like at the moment, if we go and click on this unit, its supply is 5, and it should be coming from Messina. So the more we cut off the supply, the better off we'll be there. Similarly with this unit through here, it would be cool if we could actually sort of just bring a few more units back in. I don't think that this was what we brought in. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. These are more red shirts coming in. That's everyone moved. We'll end our turn there. So the game is modelling, the problems. Oh, there we go. We've got across that one. That's good. So we can just keep on sort of rattling our way through. We're getting 1 MPP from there. We're getting 0.75 MPP from there. That's still got to come good. Again, if we needed to force march, we could do it, but we don't need to. Alright, that's got that one there. Now we can do 3 damage there, but now we've cut the supply off for this unit. So its supply is now down to 4. Actually, I think if I just right-click and click on it, yeah, supply 4 for the town. Actually, yeah, there's supply 4 there as well. We'll see what actually happens as they lose more supply. Yep. So we've got another group in there. We're actually we're on a hill there, which is actually good. So I'll just leave that one where that is, and we'll start to surround this one as well. Does a navy exist? In this scenario, looks not like there isn't, but there is in the game. Like the base game itself has got like a lot of different units. What I might even do actually is just because I've only got I've only got 2 scenarios with this build that I've got. This is an early build, just to and I can't actually even show the American Civil War game without actually without getting rid of the build. If that makes sense. So it's what I could do is show one of the other strategic commands just so you get a bit of a feel for, I guess, the scope. Like one of the ones that I've done recently, and if I just minimize this, minimize that. If I go to, I think we can play 2 of them together. So this will give you a bit of an idea. This is strategic command, War in the Pacific. So this one is deals with the it's got 1 DLC I think has been added to it, 1 or 2. Let's just go and play this one as well. I don't think it'll interfere with the other game, hopefully not. There is a autosave. Yeah, it's not a full release. This is a very, very early access. So if for example, this is what typically so at the moment when we start our single player in the one that I've got, there's only 2 scenarios we can play because that's all I've actually got. But the base game itself will then have a lot as well. And so you'll see there and through here, there's a Rise and Fall of the Empire DLC that has sort of come through. And so this is this is purely around War in the Pacific. And so this one here is the Day of Infamy, for example. So that you've got different sorts of scenarios which will have alternate days per turn. The turn length can be daily. I think the one we're playing is every 3 days. I think it's actually the turn length. So the people who actually put together the scenarios, like the actual designers of the scenarios, will sort of think through how to make it so that it actually works as a war game. So it is each one of these are like having if you bought like a board game, from back in the 1980s, it was like a war game type thing that you laid out on a table. Every single scenario is basically that, where you have like a starting point which doesn't really change, but then you can then do anything you like. So it reminds me very much of those old, the games with the little paper or cardboard tiles with the NATO symbols on them and stuff like that. So it's that sort of approach, but with a much more modern look to it. And of course, you're not really looking at the NATO side of things. So you've got, like, for example, the Solomon's campaign, and through here is one that we did actually have a look at on the channel at that point in time. This is daily turns. Turn length is daily. Days per turn. I don't know what that means. It seems to be different with what is going on with that one through there. It's 34 turns. It must be. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is there. Anyway, it's sort of, if I go and start one of these as an example, this one is one that uses a lot of Navy, and so in this case, and this is again a different era of what we have. If I go and play that campaign. I'll just quickly go and show it. If I go and play as the allies, for example, I can also, when you've got scenarios that have got like multiple players in them, you can decide which ones to have the AI. So I could have like the British controlled by the AI with me just playing the American forces if I wanted to. So I can just go and click on OK. which is pretty cool. Then we actually have the counter styles, and again, these will be modern or old, depending on what we end up having. So in this scenario, we've actually got Garibaldi's red shirts, so they've actually been sort of coloured up to look like the actual units that are there for the actual scenario. Just go and click on OK. So it literally is like getting a box of different old war games, but done with a more modern feel to them, which is pretty cool. So you end up getting sort of like basic information. And so we're sort of seeing much more naval combat now happening in the at the start of these sorts of campaigns, and often the combat will be a little bit more random, the way it sort of does work. And so the different units that are around the place, coast watches in different areas as well, combat losses summary. So we've got different things that are happening. I won't go through and play this game, but it just gives you a bit of an idea of what will be coming. And so this is sort of how they abstract like locations. Like this is Espirito Santo, which has got a long distance between where they end up coming. So they've got these sort of almost like, I guess you call them like warp points, where if a unit leaves from New Zealand or wherever it might actually be, Australian headquarters. So these are sort of, everything through here has sort of been abstracted, but then you then move them down and then they appear here for the actual attack. You then got whole big fleets of ships with aircraft carriers, things like that. So there's, depending on the scenario, and I would have liked to have shown the American Civil War one because that's most similar to the one that we're playing. So this one is geared around the war in the Pacific, but they've got different themed areas all over the place, and so this is really to do with the Solomon campaign in World War II, this particular one. But I won't spend my time there. But you can see it's got the same sort of deal in this side. Research has been turned off for this one as well, and diplomacy as well. But I think in the American Civil War one, you do find that research and diplomacy do play a role. Anyway, let's just go and quit out of that one. Yes, and quit. So how long are the scenarios? With no random maps, it might get repetitive fast. They do tend to sort of change, but there's often a lot of them. So yeah, there's no random. You can also design your own scenarios, and I think that there's because there's an editor. So, but I'm not sure how many have been done by the community. So that may be something worth actually having a look at. I don't know even if they're on where you pick them up from. Maybe from the Matrix or Slytherin sites. I'm just not sure as to where they come from. Actually, I might even have a look at that because that's fairly interesting. If we go and have a look at the, let's just open up my Steam library and just go back across to headquarters. Sorry, not headquarters. Strategic Command. I was playing headquarters World War II yesterday. Strategic Command. So if I go across into where is it? Strategic Command. There should be, it's classic. There's a lot of them. There's sort of like World War One. There's sort of like an oldish version there. I'll just go American. Here we go. American Civil War. This is the one that we're playing. So this is a DLC for the American Civil War area. Very positive. Do we have, if I go to Community Hub, I'm not sure if this is where we end up getting... No, there's no workshop, which is interesting. But I think that there'll be somewhere where you can actually go and grab DLC, like not DLC, like, maps and stuff that that people have actually put together themselves. So I think that there'd be stuff there, but I'm not sure where you'd actually find this. Yeah, I'm not sure where the actual... Because I haven't ever downloaded maps for the game, but I'm assuming that they're there because there is an editor for doing your own maps as well. So it's not random as such, which I do prefer random games just because I like seeing what the AI has to do. But for history, these are well thought out history games. So anyway, it looks like there's no Steam Workshop. We'll just get back into our game. That's good. Nothing crashed. It was a bit of a worry when you open up similar games and just at the same time. So I'm going to leave that one where that is. We've got Garibaldi coming back in through. So again, we don't want to attack this one until we've really got this one covered. I'm not sure if they're moving along as well towards us. This one we may actually struggle a little bit with supply coming back up this other side. Let's have a quick look and see what's going to happen. We've got a little bit there. Still getting supply across. You can see there we've got supply coming in through the from the sea as well, so we can actually sort of bring supply from Garibaldi across into the sea lanes. We've got supply running this way now as well. This is good stuff. I think everyone's now moved, so we'll just end our turn there. So the scenario is actually the length of time with scenarios. There's some that can be very, very short, like in some that can be quite long. This looks to be a short one with what's actually going on. Shortish. Just go back to my purchases and see, where do we end up with another brigade? Oh, it's coming in July or August. July, August, and we're in the 4th of July, so 16th of July is when we get the next brigade. All right, so that is on its way. So it's being produced at the moment. Just going to close that one off. So this was just something that came in the actual map itself. Let's just move these through. Bring these up. Bring them in behind. That's all okay. Garibaldi is in the right position here. Supply here is 7, which is actually okay. Yeah, so now we have an attack there where they take 3 damage, we take 0. Because they're now their supply is down to 2. If we just right click and have a bit of a look at them. So supply 2 at this location. In fact, I can actually pretty much destroy them. Oh, we took 1 damage there. That's a shame. Bring them across. Right, that's yeah. So they got a lucky shot there in the end. Okay, can't do anything else there. So we should get another brigade this next turn. And what's their supply like? Oh, it's a secondary supply, so they are getting supply of 5 at this location. So there's no real benefit in cutting that off, I don't think. We know that there's enemies up there. Let's just keep that one where that is. And we'll end our turn there. We can get another brigade in if we wanted to, which I think would be more valuable than getting in the commanders, even though the commanders cost a lot more. I think with Garibaldi we can actually just have, I think he can control up to 5 units within a certain number of hexes of where he's standing. Contact. That hurt us. Okay, they didn't fire at us. We're actually okay there. All right, so we'll stop there for a second with that group. I'll bring this one up through the middle here. Right, that's good. Our production. Where on earth is the production? Let's just quickly go through the different units. Yeah, I've only got 1 unit that hasn't moved. I'm just going to keep that one where that is for now. Those partisans. Oh, 10th of July. Okay, yeah, so the days, we've still got a couple more turns before we end up getting this particular group. But I can order another one, so let's go back and purchase another brigade. Yeah, this one arrives on the 9th of August when we go and get this one. So we'll just go and purchase yet another one. Close. And this one moved, so I can't actually replenish it just yet, I don't think. Yeah, no, I can't do any replenishments. So we'll end our turn there. Okay, King Francis issues a constitution. So King Francis constitution sparks disorder in Naples. I'm not sure of the history of this, but this will be something that's historically happened. New units, there we go. So we have these new red shirts. And I can then just position them wherever I want. So I'll just position them so that they can march down further. So Palermo is really like the capital now of our operation. Can't move them this turn. Move that one through. Oh, that hurt. Did a bit of damage there. We are on the other side of the river there, and I thought that was going to be helpful, but because we knew that they were there, but just we had lost sight of them. All right, so we do have problems down this way. So we're going to replenish this unit in here. And I'll replenish, if I can do it. No, I can't do it there. Okay, that one's up to 8 now. Yep, so I'll just leave them where they are. And we'll start to sort of get across the strait. Nothing else we can do with our MPP. Production points. So when we start to do damage, I might start to attack that one now with prepared attacks, because we can start to now take this Syracuse as well. And Messina we're going to have to sort of break into. We're going to need more forces up this way. It's simple in the sense that, you know, we're not dealing with sort of complex arrangements of units. It is it's a lot more basic than a lot of other games in that sort of sense. Yeah, I wish I could show one of the scopes of one of the bigger scenarios. Like, I tend to look for small scenarios. Okay, there's a lot here at Messina. I don't know if I can overpower those. I can't. Yeah, so we're sort of like, these are only supposed to be a strength 10 as their you know, at their maximum. Well, we're going to have to push them back, even though they're in the mountains here. Bring these in. Just get them ready for the attacks next turn, so we should be able to then get rid of that one there. Now, as far as the actual location there is concerned, the maximum entrenchment only 2. That's okay. These aren't really going to be able to do much. So we'll just bring the Medici down into this particular attack. So surround them with the units. I think I can. Yeah, I can't replenish that one once I move it. So Tenor is saying, I get the impression that this game is very simplistic compared to Shadow Empire. The only plus point might be the fact that this game has a navy. Yeah, that's funny. Well, that's true. So the yeah, I mean, it's different. This is Strategic Command is an entry level war game. it really at its core. Shadow Empire is a much more complex game. Just bring Garibaldi up. Look, I might start hitting this one. Oh, that's good. We did lose 2 there, unfortunately. Okay, it's down to 1. It's not going to be able to replenish anywhere near as much. So we can next turn we can replenish this, but we're going to have to start to push into the areas here. So we don't get the same sort of battle results as Shadow Empire, as an example. Like it is much simpler in that sort of sense. So we'll just go and click on here and just go in the turn. Oh, it did replenish it up to full strength. That's interesting. Yeah, this one now is struggling. Its readiness will be really, really low, and its morale is like its readiness is down to 39% and morale down to 29%. So it's and its entrenchment is only 2 of 3 now. So we can essentially smash this. That's good. Bring this one up. I'll bring that one down onto that road. And Garibaldi across. So we'll start to push in now towards Messina. We only have to get next to it to be able to affect anything that's actually happening there. This one supplies down to 2. Supply is 9. Actually, that's our red shirts. Hang on, just let me have a look at these guys. So your supply is only 2 there. So their readiness is 46 and their morale is 42. I take 1 stack. I'll just replenish that one up. They're all done. I can't change those just yet. So we'll leave them where they are. Yeah, I won't worry about bringing that one in any closer. All right, we'll end our turn here, I think. Oh, actually, no, I want to keep on pushing this guy. It's down to 1. Okay, that'll do us, and yeah, I won't do that one just yet. We've got artillery there now. So we haven't seen the artillery before in the game, so that's now going to be something we're going to need to be looking at. So field artillery, these can actually fire at 2. They can fire out to here. I'm going to move into that zone of control, and we can do some damage to this particular unit in through this other side. So we'll do the attack on that. That's going to cut this unit off and make it ultimately easier eventually. I think we'll just keep on pushing this one. And we're taking damage here, but we do actually have another group that's now coming back in. I'll let that one get a prepared attack for the next turn, and then we'll start to repair some of these units up with what we're actually doing. We'll just wait for that one until the supply goes. This one should now be an easy attack. Not as easy as we thought. There we go, we got it. Now these are red shirts, these are partisans. So Syracuse has fallen. That's going to give me another big bonus. I might grab another. Do I need any more commanders? I probably don't actually need the commanders at this stage. Probably just more red shirts. So we're just over the limit there. But I'm going to need to replenish these. So I think I'll wait. Should we wait? We've got another one coming in another period. Let's go and purchase more. So if we just go back across the brigades and purchase. Alright, so if we go back to the production, so we've got them coming 9th of August, 2nd of September, back in through there as well. Alright, so we've nearly got all of Sicily now under our control. What's the supply? That one's only got supply of 1, so that one's going to be really struggling in the coming turns. This one's down to supply 6, and its readiness has dropped to 52%. There we go, it's more support. There's no retaliation strikes against artillery. Okay, new units. So we'll get that one there as well. So let's go and heal that one back up to 10. Palison is not the greatest one to be fighting there. Just keep on pushing. It's going to be a bit of a battle of attrition now in this little area. This one, with the lack of supply, is going to struggle here. Alright, we'll get these fixed up before we sort of take them across the narrows. I don't think I can actually take them into here. I don't know if these are ports. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can't actually load them onto transports with what we actually have. We'll just get Messina under our control and then sort of figure out what to do next. So they've done their job. So in much bigger scenarios, of course the complexity of what you purchase, what you get, supply points and things like that can vary wildly, depending on what's actually going on. And that may be affecting our readiness. Different units here. Clean this up just so we can sort of get more units back in. Yeah, I don't need much to kill this one off. Oh, still going. Okay, it's been shattered and gone. It's good. So I won't attack there yet. I'll just sort of keep everything sort of thumping along. I should do a forced march just so you can sort of see what happens to the units when that actually does happen. I can go Control Z, I might just do that. So with their march, at this point in time, for example, this one's got a readiness there of 65 and a morale of 79. If I click it a second time, I then get a forced march to take it all the way up to here. I can't do an attack if I do the forced march, but it can move closer to the actual front. And so when it goes there, its morale is, its readiness is down, or dropped to 65. So it has to then sort of pick up that again. So it can't do anything else this turn, but at least it's closer to the front. So it can be useful for very quickly sort of moving the forces around. There's lots of little quality of life things, I think, as well in this game, like with those sorts of mechanics that that you know, with the second clicks. I don't know what the leaders do with the second click. I don't know what this green area is in here, whether that's sort of what they're affecting in the battle or not. I'm just not sure. Yeah, I'm not going to take that one just yet. Let's just see if we can replenish any. I think we've moved everything, so we can't really do much in terms of replenishment. There we go, reinforcements have arrived. So these are just ones that are coming through historically. Now, what are they going to bring out? The cavalry? Nope, they're bringing out briefing units. That one where that is. These are red shirts as well that need to be fixed up, so we'll do that now. Up to 10, can't do that one. Up to 8, up to 8. Up to 10, up to 8. So we'll just get them prepared and move them across. This group now is its readiness is coming back up to 84%. That's 61, that's 88, 69, 57. Yeah, so there's a few in there. We'll just leave it where that is for now. Nothing much we can do this turn. So we have actually sort of healed up our units, so for the ready for the next phase. Again, I'll just march them along. Different red shirts. We're going to be very congested towards the back end. I don't know if I can actually get them onto, you know, I think I need to have the actual transports. Just go Control Z again. Yeah, there's no transport as such that I can see there. I'll just leave that one back there because we don't really need to worry about it at this stage. Is there a way we can do it? As we know, there's a port, like it's got the little port symbol, and I think Syracuse has got that as well. Yeah, it's got a port symbol there as well. So can we do anything here? Oh, there we go. Amphibious transport. I can do it. There we go. It's a sailing ship. So we can start to bring these across. I should have done that with the others. I'll just leave that one there. Alright, so that actually changes things quite a bit. So I'll transport all of those. I can only do it in a port, like I can't actually go and grab anything from in here. So that will be fine. I could have done it from Syracuse though, as well. So I could have actually completely changed what happens in here, but now I'm congested with these fights down this way. Oh, defensive artillery. They've actually healed up. So I've sort of screwed this one up a little bit. is actually bring some of these guys down to transport it away. Because I can land partisans. Partisans don't lose their supply. Just keep on putting the pressure on here. Do what we can. All right, we'll leave that one where that is. Actually, I wonder if this has to land at a port potentially. Yeah, that may be what it has to do. I'm not 100% sure as to how this one actually does work. They keep on replenishing this. We do actually have amphibious transport. So we've got transport or amphibious transport. Let's go with that one there. Can't do that one just yet. So I think that amphibious transport is different because I can then bring it back down into a different location. I can bring it back to this port here. There we go, we've got zones of controls in through this other side. So we're just sort of seeing different aspects. There's a leader there. Now this should now fall without us doing anything. So we'll just go and fix everyone else up. Oh, we're down to 13. Okay, so we'll run out of supply there. Okay, we'll bring this one in, see if we can actually do a landing on the other side. Okay, the garrison of Messina surrenders to Garibaldi. There we go. So we just have to be next to them. Now that is a port. So we will need to do a landing, I think, around the other side. It's only a low-level leader. It's down to just 2. Yeah, now I can leave from the port to there. There we go. So we can now go and grab these guys. Can we do amphibious? We can do transport. That's it. And the partisans can't do it. Okay, that's interesting. So it's only the red shirts that can actually get in to do that sort of stuff. Oh, I've come across an enemy transport as well. That is only a transport, I think. Yeah, cavalry brigade coming in through one of their Yeah, now we can leave and grab different locations, so we can get in behind them now. All right, this is cool actually. This is really cool. So I need to be around this port. Okay, that's the port there. It's funny. I thought they were guns, but they're docks. So it's the docks actually in the water province. So you have got to be around that. Interesting. But we can't do it with partisans. And certain ports can only do certain things, I think. It looks like we can't actually transport. We can do normal transports from here, but not the amphibious transports that we can do from other locations. We'll see what else we can do here. Nothing much else I can do there. Get that one up to full strength. All right, let's see how we go here. If we look at the supply, so this one's going to have very, very limited supply next turn, unfortunately. So we do need to use this effectively if we're going to be doing this sort of work. That one's possibly not going to make it. It's moved off somewhere else. Okay, Cavoa reduces the supplies being sent to Garibaldi. If you have a look at the supply situation, still got 8s and 9s through there. It's still pretty good. I'm not sure what that means. These in here now. It's going to do damage to us. Yeah, we don't have anything we can do through here. We've got disband. Oh, this one here we can do amphibious. Yep, so we'll spend these on the transports. Bring these up. These can't be transported other than just through standard transports. Let's get them ready. Oh, I don't have enough money. That's what it is. I've got 123. I do have enough. Why can't we transport this one? Not sure what the go is there. There must be some other parameter with that we're not seeing. I wonder where else we can see that. Not sure. We've still got units up this way. That's not going to worry us. Yeah, I'm a bit unsure as to what goes on here. So Tinra is saying, yeah, the UI is also clean in this game, although Shadow Empires requires all the tabs it currently has in order to provide all the necessary information. Yeah, this one I would actually like a little bit more information about the actual attacks and things. Like a combat log would be really cool. I don't know if there is one, and this is one of these things where I often don't. Yeah, this is the user manual. It's nice. You got nice access to different things if you wanted to, even the hotkeys you sort of have through the game. It's just got the user interface certainly is good for one of these sorts of games. There's victory conditions in through there we then need to go and do. So all the stuff is here. What else is there to have a look at? Choosing the sides, yeah, blah blah blah. That's all fine. Just go and click on OK there. This is save files, of course. Reports, we can start to now sort of see a little bit more. We're getting a little bit more control over through this other side now. So slowly sort of building up. They've still got better production. But no, it's like it's good as a you know, as a historical war game. It is very, very good, and it's certainly approachable, which is nice. We're going to have to punch our way out of here. This guy here is the readiness is going to be fairly low. Actually, I'm just about to run out of time, guys. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to do a raid across to the Slytherin channel. So sort of my time here is up. And I probably won't be back for Worldly Wednesday. I might, yeah, I might have to leave that, skip a week with that, unfortunately, because I'll be back again at the same start time, like 2 hours before now. So in 22 hours, I'll be back again to play another couple of hours of this. We'll probably play the other map, maybe. I don't know. Now that we sort of know what we can do with these, I might do a bit more reading as well beforehand to try to figure out what's going on with the transports, what we can then go and do, how that sort of then works, because yeah, it's interesting actually. Let's cut them off now, or maybe that's what we need to do. So we'll just sort of leave them there. But it's I really quite like the idea that we can actually then use the transports to get around, and I don't actually have them here though. So there must be some other sort of mechanic. So Falcon's saying, nice game, but I miss Worldly Wednesday. Yeah, I'm going to be too tired today if I keep on playing. So what I will do is I will actually now just go and we'll do a raid, and I'm very bad at doing these. Just see if I can actually figure out how to do it. I forget how to do it. Channels, no, that's not it. Should have checked this before I did it. I looked at it the other day because I thought, how do I actually do this one? Yeah, actually, Dutov is saying it could be a 2-ship limit for Amphibious. Yeah, I'll see if I can find out what's going on with that one. So on YouTube, like if you, I don't know if they're streaming on the Slytherin YouTube channel. They may be, but I think it'll be mainly the Twitch channel. So. So I'll say goodbye to the YouTube people, and then we'll try to figure out how we can then just do a raid into Slytherin and see how we go from there. So farewell, YouTube. I'll be back again tomorrow.